Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Deadball Specialists. This week's title is called Klopp's Krumble with a K. So there's a lot of games this weekend, 16 in total. So normally we'd discuss the weekend's results and then pick a topic that's close to us. But with so many games, we thought we'd just give you a bumper edition of the weekend's breakdowns and the week's breakdowns. I'm joined once again by my co-host Ahmed. You ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And next week, we'll be looking at a topic actually that's very, very close to us, or something that we've been debating a lot so far, which is prime Ozil, prime Cesc Fabregas, or prime Kevin De Bruyne. Who is a better player and why? It's caused a lot of debate amongst us already. And lastly, we're going to have a guest on for the first time ever. We're going to have a guest with us.
A very special guest.
A very special guest indeed. So we'll be looking to do some other guests. So if people are interested, do feel free to leave a comment and get involved. But we'll jump straight into it. And the first game we're going to look at this week is City United. The 2-0 United. Shock to both of us.
Wow.
I know our predictions were both City walked this game very easily. In the last podcast we were saying. 2 United. Shocking.
I mean, I did not see the coming. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your prediction was a draw. That you said United would sneak a draw. That you backed them to get a draw. I'm not entirely sure. Sorry if I'm wrong. I hold my hands up and I apologise. Probably I'm wrong, to be honest. Probably misremembering. But I seem to remember thinking that City would walk this, and you were not as confident as me. You were thinking maybe United have something about them.
I'm pretty sure I thought City would walk it too.
Okay, cool.
I know that City have 21 wins on the bounce up until this point, which is a very, very impressive thing to do. That's across all competitions, of course. But what I want to make note of in this is, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Luke Shaw has turned into prime Roberto Carlos, and I don't know what's been going on. Like under Mourinho, he was terrible, but all of a sudden he's prime Roberto Carlos under Ole. He seems to have found form. He's very, very effective going forwards, using his size and pace to his advantage. It's an interesting thing. I know he had a lot of shots in this game. Fernandes' penalty again wasn't the best, but it was enough. A goal's a goal at the end of the day. And I think United's game plan was executed very well in that game. I think because then you see he's going to have more of the ball. Then you see it would be generally dominant within the game. Although you felt they weren't dominant at all.
Not entirely, no.
Okay, but still, you walk away with a 2-0 win at City's ground. It's a massive result tonight, I think.
Massive result.
I think that locks them into second place. I think that's their Champions League pretty much sorted now, and I think United will be very, very confident moving forward. If they can buy a couple of players in the summer, I know Ollie's not the man to take him to a title. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's good enough to do that. But I think if they could buy a couple of world-class players, even though again, money is tight, as we discussed last week. They could continue to challenge the top four, get a good manager, and then they take the next step.
Yeah, I mean, so just to come on to that, so I think with Luke Shaw, he's finally found a manager who's not kind of thrown him under the bus. So that's what Mourinho did. He threw him under the bus, absolutely kind of, went to town on him, called him all sorts, questioned his character, his ability, and it knocked his confidence. Now under Ole, even though Ole is a glorified PE teacher, Luke Shaw he's really come good. And the fact that Ole bought a backup left back in Alex Tellers, he bought him to basically challenge Shaw, and Shaw's kind of stepped his game up to another level. And this is what I mean. Like, I think every club should have, a backup that is, biting at the heels of the first team player. It always raises their level. And if you have a first-team player, for the most part, who doesn't have any competition behind him, they tend to make mistakes. They tend to kind of fall behind. I did not anticipate this United win at all. I did not see it. I mean, even though I should have, because they've gone there and won before, and they've gone there and beaten, like especially Old Trafford and obviously Eastlands. They've beaten really good City teams in the past, but I didn't see this coming at all. Like you said, 21 game winning streak, playing really effective football. I did not see this coming at all. But I'll say this though, City lost the game in the first 30 seconds when Gabriel Jesus Gabriel Jesus, honestly, this guy is, he's, if Crime Watch was still on, he'd be on
Mhm.
there. He would be on Crime Watch for super fraud. This man is no good whatsoever. He's a striker that's supposed to replace Aguero.
Well,
Really?
this is the thing I was going to say to you. I don't think Pep has any confidence in him. I think Aguero's slowing down and he's in last year's contract now, and I think he will go back to Argentina at some point. But Jesus is not that guy. That's why in the bigger games he
He's not
puts
any guy.
Jesus on the bench. He takes Jesus on the bench and he plays Ferran Torres up, or he plays Mahrez up there, or he plays.
He should have done that. He should have done that. He should have.
He normally does. He normally does.
Yeah, honestly, he should have just gone with it like a three of kind of Ferran Torres and Sterling one side, Mahrez on the other. This guy Jesus is no good, honestly. Like he's in a team, right? He's in a City team that has that much quality behind him, supplies him with all sorts, and he still can't make an impression. Still misses sitters, and what's worse, he's giving goals away. He basically cost his team the game today.
He did.
What
That
are you
was a
doing?
very rash thing to do very early on. Yeah.
Rash as hell. Like Martial ain't going nowhere. He is going nowhere. Why are you diving in like that? You're taught that at like 5, 6, 7 years old, you know? When you're playing football, you know, like six aside, whatever. Five aside. You're taught this as kids, okay? If someone is kind of, in and around your box and they don't look that dangerous, don't dive in. Don't give them an excuse. Don't give away a penalty. And this is what this guy did. So he cost his team in the first 30 seconds
I mean,
today. So.
it was a deserved victory for United, I thought, today.
Oh,
It
100%,
wasn't
100%.
It was very
Yeah, I mean,
deserved.
do you know what? I'm really surprised that double fridge is Harry Maguire actually looked quite decent today. I was
Yeah.
astounded. He looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really rate Harry Maguire. I think
I don't rate him at all. I think he's awful.
a bit of a slabhead. He's not the greatest player. But
He's the worst defender in the top six.
yes, I agree. I think he is. Yeah.
The worst.
So, okay, well, let's move on to the City Wolves game, which was on Tuesday night. That was 4-1 to City, that game.
Yeah.
Now, I will say in that game it was a very, very different. I talked about how good Connor Cody was, and he got the equaliser in the game. And Wolves were in the game until the 80th minute. It was 1-1. And I think what happens with a lot of teams that have been playing City recently is that if they stay in the game, as soon as they go that one goal extra behind, heads down and they capitulate a little bit. So, for example, in this game, Wolves did so well to stay in the game, 80th minute, 1-1. As soon as City made it 2-1, that was it. The Wolves kind of just thought, you know what? We tried our hardest to be in this game. We've got there. Now they're ahead again. 10 minutes left. We're not going to claw this back because we're doing enough just to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And Real City dominated throughout. And again, that was their 21st before Man United put an end to it. But in that game, it was all City.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they deserved it, and that's a really good point that you made, by the way, by staying in the game. I remember kind of prime Barcelona, right? Really, like under Pep. Generally, if you stayed in the game around the 75th, 80th minute mark, you always had a chance of winning, right? Because those Barcelona teams would try their best to blitz you, in the first half. They wanted the game done by the first half. So if you got to 75, 80, 85 minutes and you're still in the shop, then the things were looking good for you. It didn't really work out for Wolves this time. They did lose in the end, but it was a valiant effort by them. But
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, but just City are a machine at the moment. So apart from today, but they're a machine, and they just grind you down, and even down to the 80th minute, 90th minute, it's tough.
Okay, so let's move on to the next set of big games, I guess, and the one that gives me the most sorrow to talk about more so than anything, and that'll be Liverpool-Chelsea. Now, I'll kick us off with this one because I've got a lot to say, perfectly honest.
Go on.
We were never in that game, in the Chelsea game especially. We looked nervous. We still look very tired. It's the fifth loss at Anfield in a row. I mean, it becomes 6 after the Fulham game today, and we'll come on to that shortly. But it was, if we were there all day, we wouldn't have scored a goal. It didn't look like we were interested in scoring a goal. We kind of just got to the last third and we just all fell apart. Salah was poor. Mane, again, he had a really good chance early on in the first half, but he has completely gone off a boil. And I've been saying, sell one of the two. I don't care if they both go now. They've both been so bad this year.
Mm.
And Mane finishing wise, especially, Salah scored 17 goals, so he's still being a goal scorer. But the rest of his game has just dropped off a cliff. Like he's not running about anymore. He's not going at the last man like he loves to do. That greediness has left a little bit. I mean, I heard Michael Owen saying that Mane didn't go down for a penalty against Chelsea when he should have done. I think it definitely should have gone down for a penalty in that game. But the reason that he thought was because Mane thought Salah's going to take the penalty and Salah gets the goal, so I'm not going to go down. Now, that's the most ridiculous argument I've heard. So,
What kind of weird-ass conspiracy theory is that?
That's Michael Owen for you. I mean,
Michael Owen, oh, God.
I think that's stupid. But I do think that both of them have just, their form is so bad. All of the teams are not playing great. But Chelsea make them out look good. Chelsea were threatening throughout. And honestly, they deserve that win. They were the better team on the night. There's no two ways about it.
100%. They definitely deserve that. I'll come on to Liverpool in a second, but kind of Chelsea, I thought they were really good, and they are massively improved under Tuchel. Compared to Lampard. I mean, honestly, Lampard should never have got that job. Never got that job. He wasn't good enough, and he isn't good enough to get that job. His level is a championship. You know, like he couldn't even get Derby promoted.
Yeah, then to land the Chelsea job is a bit.
Yeah, and
no other English manager gets that.
Nobody. But because of his status as a Chelsea legend or whatever, he got the job. Okay, cool. I get that. Another thing I'll say about Chelsea, Mason Mount, aka Money Mace. Hey, oh my God, this kid! I really like this kid. I rate him highly. But do you know what's mad though? Chelsea fans hate his guts. They do not like him at all.
Why?
They think he's dog shit. They don't like him. They think he's a waste of space.
He's a young guy. He's got a long way to go. He's going to make mistakes. He's very young still.
He's a young guy. He's from their academy. He scores goals. He looks good. He plays well. He has a lot about him. He's effective. Why would you not support someone like that? I don't understand. Look, he's not on the level of a Foden or a Saka or anyone like that. But I rate him. I think he's fantastic. But they can't. I don't know. For some reason, they can't seem to stand him. But you know, Chelsea fans are a weird bunch anyway. So
they are a fickle bunch.
Yeah, of course. If they're not pushing people like me off trains, they're having a go at Mason Mount. So.
I mean, Arsenal fans are not great, but we can get on to that.
Yes, I agree. They are pretty shit. But,
fickle,
you know, they're not a bunch of racists pushing people off trains.
That's right.
Although that is a discussion for another day.
That is a discussion for another day. Let's move on to the Fulham game. Yeah. I know you want to say a lot about Scott Parker. I'll just say
I do.
That game, again, there's an Anfield hoodoo right now with like no fans in the stadium. We look so scared at Anfield. Salah was, I mean, to be at fault for the goal, that kind of attitude there, I think, from Salah just shows where the mindset's at right now. Because he's got the ball on the edge of his own box, and he shuts it down. At no point did he think, I'll just get rid of this. He thought, I'm going to try and take a touch, control it down. And he just got bullied off the ball. Like he couldn't be bothered. It was just like, it wasn't like he shoved him really hard. It was just a little bit of strength. And he was like, okay, have a shot, have a goal.
Someone should have told me he's not in Serie A anymore, right? You can't be doing, chesting it, keepy uppy, controlling the ball in your own box. This is the Prem, playboy. You don't get 2 seconds in your own box. You're going to have someone on you. And obviously Mario Lemina was. For me, I think a lot of this started when you guys signed Thiago, right? So you and I talked quite a lot when you signed Thiago. And you know how much I love I think Thiago is an absolute world-class baller, right? Love this guy. He is elite, next level. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't work for your team and he doesn't work in your system because you guys play three in the middle, right? 3 in midfield. Mm-hmm. Those you don't need a Thiago in there. You need a Wijnaldum. You need a Henderson. You need a Fabinho. You need someone who's going to cover ground and press and be tigerish in a tackle and, protect the back line and get forward and attack and win the ball back. That's what you need in that midfield. You don't need a silky, you don't need a Harrods in the middle of midfield. You need an Aldi. That's what you need.
No, but I think people, and I know we spoke about this before, I think people are really undervaluing it, or rather just misinterpreting a few things in this whole Thiago situation. One is people say, Liverpool play really fast and he can't do that. it's foolish to say Thiago can't speed up play or that Thiago would not pass a ball to a free man in the free space. That is an insane thing to say because Thiago is technically very, very gifted, and of course he wants to move the ball on. That's what his part of his game is. I think the thing that has happened with Thiago is I think Thiago was brought in to be an alternative option in that midfield. I don't think he was there to be a replacement for Henderson or Ronaldo. I think the idea to have him was maybe 30, 40 minutes left in the game. We can't break a team down. They've got a low block on. Bring him on in that kind of more attacking advanced role, and then he breaks that down and gives the strikers another option. But again, it comes back to the fact that this team is decimated. So because there's so many injuries in that team, that he has been forced to play number 6 week in, week out, and he's just getting exposed. The pace is too quick for him. He's just been shown that he can't run around after the pace because their fitness levels is just as good. And I think that's not what he was meant for, and that's why he's looking worse than he actually is right now, because there's an element of he wasn't brought in to be that guy right now. He's a 30-year-old player. He was never going to be brought in to become a replacement for Henderson or Ronaldo or one of those players. He's come in to be that guy to give us a different option when we require it. But we've not been able to use him in that way.
Well, why has he been starting so many games? That's my thing.
Because who else is there to play? Henderson's been injured. Milner's been injured. Wijnaldum's been the only consistent player in that middle of the park. Fabinho's gone straight to centre back every week he's played there. We have that's I think is a big reason.
I mean,
the reason is because of shortage of players, not because of we want him to play every week.
I mean, like injuries aside, do you think really like a 30-year-old Thiago who's just come from the European champions, he's come from Bayern Munich, do you reckon he was really go over to Liverpool just to sit on their bench and, you know, I don't think he would have come on the promise he's going to start every game.
Yeah, but that's fine. But he wants to start in that role of being that number 8 creative and stuff like that. But we don't. We are not dominating teams to be able to allow for a player like that right now. And so we have to carry him a little bit because we're not in that position where we're dominating teams, and that's what makes him a bit more ineffective. I think he doesn't look as good because we're not playing him as we need to play him, or as he deserves to be played. It's a decimated team. The only good thing I think that's happened of the game today is that he played Nat Phillips and Reece Williams centre back, and I've been banging on about this for ages. Kabak is terrible, and if we are going to say that the first 3 choice centre backs are out and things aren't going well, just play these 2 now for the rest of the season.
I agree with you. You should have.
Let them get on with it. If they make mistakes, so be it. We're not exactly beating teams left, right, and centre. Just let them get the experience now for the last 12, 11 games and see what happens. Get Robbo out of the team for a bit, get Trent out of the team for a bit, play Nico Williams, play that Cosmic Cast or whatever.
I like him, by the way. He's decent.
He's good. And I think we should just say, you guys, we're going to give you it for the rest of the year. And in the Champions League, play your Salah, Mane, Trent, Robbo, all those guys. So they're having a bit of a rest, and a bit of a reset to be showing that actually, you know, you can be taking out the team. Your point about Alex Telles and United, I think, was a fantastic point. We don't have that at Liverpool. There's no one really challenging. Nico Williams doesn't challenge Trent enough, and Smith doesn't challenge Robbo enough. Like, if those 2 are fit, there's not really a competition from the other 2. They're not chomping at the bit. Alex Telles, I feel, is chomping at the bit comparatively.
Yeah, exactly. And you need that for, you know, I mean, we suffer from a similar thing for Hector Bellerin. You know, there's nobody, I mean, Cedric, forget him. I mean, there's no one really saying, boss, pick me. I'm doing well. I'm pressing for a starting position ahead of this guy. You know, we don't have that. But like, for me, I just think that Liverpool look really disjointed. Really disjointed. They're not the team that I have seen for the past 2 years, you know, and for me, that was kind of epitomized by Salah wanting to kind of have 500 touches in the box, you know, and obviously was robbed by Mario Lemina. For me, honestly, Fulham should have won by 3 or 4. They had so many great, 100%. They had so many great chances. You know, they were in on a few occasions. They just had to kind of really their final ball wasn't that great, and they had a couple of kind of bad decisions in the final third. But I thought Fulham were good value for their win and should have won by more. If we're being real, honestly. But when I saw your starting lineup today, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I messaged you, didn't I?
You messaged me straight away, yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this? What are you guys doing? Like, it was mad to me. Like, I look, I get that your first team's out of form and whatnot, but you have to go with your strongest. You have to go with your big guns.
I'm not sure right now. I don't think that's the right. I just say play the youth right now. The season's over. The season's been over for me for a while. I said this to you from podcast one. I said this to you. I think the season's been done, and I think it's all just coming to fruition. What I was saying to you, that he needs to just let the season go, accept that you're not going to get top four. Maybe being outside the Champions League is a blessing. Don't get Europe full stop, because I think we can still attract players for a year.
As an Arsenal fan, being out of the Champions League is not a blessing. Let me just tell you that right
now.
now.
For a one-off year, I think it's not the worst thing in the world for us.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, for me, personally speaking, like, I would like it if we were out of Europe entirely for at least a year as an Arsenal fan. I don't want to be no Europa League, nothing. I just want to
that's what I mean.
Focus on the league.
That's what I mean. I'm saying, because I think if we only had one match a week and Klopp got to work with the players once a week, like the whole week for one game, I think would be challenging again. It's a very different scenario. So I don't mind missing out on Europe this year. It's not an issue.
Cool.
Let's kind of move us nicely onto the Arsenal game. Actually, 1-1 Burnley. It was a good finish from Alba. I mean, the keeper should have done better, and it was a terrible mistake from Xhaka. And he generally has a rough time against Burnley anyway. I think you were the better team throughout, and just a bit unfortunate. It happens that, and you can't be too hard on Xhaka, because I think mistakes like that can happen to anyone.
Okay, cool. Firstly, with Ober's goal, yes. I mean, I think it was a good goal. He cut it in. We knew what he was going to do. I think the keeper should have saved it, but I don't think you can blame their keeper too much, because it was, kind of took him by surprise. I get that. We were good value for our lead. And then once again, we've shut the bed. Now, I blame Xhaka, but I also blame Leno too. As a keeper, right, you see Burnley pressing the midfield that you're passing it to. Go long. Just go long. Hit it. Get it out there, okay? But he didn't. He played it into Xhaka, and obviously Xhaka made that mistake. So I blame the pair of them.
Okay.
However, with Xhaka, I've told you for the longest time, this guy is not good enough. I'm not talking about this mistake.
I agree with that.
This man is not good enough, right? The fact that he is anchoring our midfield, that has done for, 5 years now.
Yeah, a long time.
I'm just exasperated. Like, I honestly, like, what are we doing? Like, he is not good enough. He will never be good enough. Is there a top 6 side that he would start for? None.
No, I don't think so.
No, if everyone's fit, no. I mean, really, a top 10 side. I mean, we're not a top 10 side.
No, he would definitely get into top 10 side, but he wouldn't get into the top 6 or 7.
Like who?
Well, he would get into Villa side. He would
not. What, ahead of McGinn, Douglas Luiz?
I mean, he's
Ross
better than
Barkley.
He's better than
No,
McGinn.
He's not better than McGinn.
Technically, he's got a good free kick in him. He's got a good technique. He's slow, and I don't think I think he makes a lot of mistakes, and I'm not Xhaka's biggest fan. I told you when he comes to the club that I don't think he's the best player.
Yeah,
he does have a bit of technique in him, and I don't think he's.
I promise you, he would not start for any top 10 side in the Premier League. I promise you. Okay. He's like Schalke level, like he doesn't belong. He doesn't belong in a team. Not that we're great. I mean, we're mid-table ourselves, but he's just not good enough. I thought we played really well. I think once again, General Arteta has basically failed to deceive. This man started Willian again. He started Willian. Gabby Martinelli wasn't even on the bench. What the hell? He let Willian stay on the field. I think he hooked him on the 70th minute, despite the fact that he contributed. Apparently, he contributed an assist. Do you know what the assist was? Okay. Do you know what the assist was?
For Alba's goal, yeah.
Yeah, he laid it out to Alba like maybe halfway into Burnley's half, right, and just laid out a pass. It wasn't incisive. It wasn't a ball over the top. It wasn't a reverse pass. It was nothing. Just like a sideways pass. Somehow he's going to get the credit for that. And that's what General Arteta is going to say. Well, Willian is contributing. He's contributing assists. Don't piss me off. Honestly. It was... Do you know what it was, right? Do you know how I know this is Arteta's kind of patented brand of poison ball? I knew. Do you know when Burnley equalised? I knew we weren't going to score again. Absolutely knew.
Yeah,
That was like 30th minute. I knew we weren't going to score again.
But you dominated that game. You can't.
Absolutely dominated it. Yeah, but that's like Arteta. That's his brand of football. Dominate, but no penetration, no creativity, no skill, no imagination, nothing. This man, he's been kept in a job by a 19-year-old like Bukayo Saka, and his individual brilliance and whatever he brings to the team, or like a flash of brilliance from over. That's what keeps him in a job. That's what What's he doing? What's he doing?
Well,
Nothing. His in-game management is worse than Emery's. Worse than Emery's, and I never thought I'd say that about any manager ever, because Emery's was dog.
Emery's was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. And this guy Arteta, he's just. I've had it with him. I've absolutely had it with him.
No, I know your thoughts, and I think the people who watch our podcast in the past will know your thoughts as well. You've been very, very clear, very vivid on your thoughts on Arteta. Let's move on to the Leicester Brighton game and leave the Arsenal game. There's Arsenal already played once in a week.
Yeah.
Brighton Leicester. Firstly, it was so good to see Lalong on the score sheet again. As a Liverpool fan, it was nice to see him, and it was a lovely finish. Like really composed.
Great
finish, picture spot. Yeah, it was lovely. Iheanacho again, another class up. Chip was so deft. It was so lovely. I thought Brighton played well. I mean, they've been really bad at home. Yeah, I think they've had one win at home all year. But I really like Brighton. I know when we talked about good managers, I mentioned Graham Potter and I talked about how much I like him.
I like him. I like him
too. Brighton. And I think they were unfortunate to lose that game because they were very much in it. It wasn't like Leicester dominated the game. It was a fairly even game, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that definitely, that game should have been a draw. But it was a keeper mistake, and Leicester won it. I mean, you mentioned Brighton have only won one game at home. That's not for lack of trying, by the way. They've looked really good. Like, I don't know what it is. Are they under a curse or something? It's like they play some decent stuff.
I think they
tend to dominate most games.
I think they should always have a mistake in them. They're just a bit unfortunate. They're a bit of an
very unfortunate. Yeah, very unfortunate. I mean, I think they have enough to stay up, so I'm not worried about them on that aspect. I think when push comes to shove, Brighton could beat any team in this league, right, on their day. So I'm not worried about them in that way. But I just think that they're not getting the rewards that they deserve. I think their play deserves more points.
I agree,
and they shouldn't be where they are.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Have Leicester now cemented their place as third? Do you think they've got Champions League? Is that done now? I think.
I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's cemented, because you know why? Because people thought that last season, and within a few games ago, they tumbled out the top four and finished fifth. So.
I mean, look, they drew with Burnley earlier in the week. It was a 1-1 draw there. There was a lovely finish from Vidra. I know it was a mistake from Leicester, but it was a lovely finish. But it was two poor results for Leicester back to back. So that kind of backs your argument that they could fall off towards the end. I do think it's cemented in there. I think the way Rodgers is playing, I think the fact that the rest of their games, they haven't got the worst running of all time. It's not the worst running. And I think they win enough games. I know it was 1-1 at Burnley, but Burnley are a tough team to break down at their time. If they get a goal, you know what Burnley are like. They shut up shop and they say, come and break us down if you can. And Leicester, to be fair, lovely finish from Iheanacho again. Lovely volley, mate. Our first time over the top on Leicester, taking across your body. That was the class finish. So I think Leicester have gotten more than enough to finish third this year.
I would back Leicester to finish fourth.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if they tumble at the top four entirely, because they have form for this. They literally did it last year. They looked this good. They were fantastic. And all of a sudden, last 8 or 9 games, they won nothing and just kind of finished fifth. Never should have happened. And look, it's a Rodgers effect. So we'll see. We'll see.
I see them doing it this year. I think they will finish third. But we'll see. Let's go on to the Everton-Southampton game. Everton picking up some good Champions League form, really solid running. I think they've won their last 2 games on the spin. So they beat Southampton and they beat West Brom. We'll focus on the Southampton game first. And there was a lovely assist by Gylfi Sigurdsson, that ball in through the breaking through the lines of defence was an absolute class pass. And Richarlison having a good season, continuing a rich train form, scoring goals. Southampton slump continues.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Richarlison is kind of turning into the striker that they really wanted. Like, remember this, right? They bought him from Watford for 50 million, right?
Yeah.
This was like, was it 2017 or something?
Yeah,
like, that was like big money back then, right? For
it was massive, yeah.
For a Watford striker, that's like huge, you know.
Huge.
So he's finally coming good, and I do like him. I just think he's been quite inconsistent. Yeah. Southampton were in a real slump, but I've always had the feeling they'll come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're never going to get relegated, but I think they won't get Europe this year either. It's just going to be one of those seasons for them.
Yeah, mid-table mediocrity.
Yeah, mid-table mediocrity, I agree. And we both discussed how much we like Hassan Hootie.
Big fan. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they've got enough there. The West Brom Everton game, again, 1-0 Everton. Richarlison again, scoring 2 games on the bounce. Flying. Good header. It wasn't the greatest of games. I mean, West Brom games generally, whoever they make games boring because it's big sound, is not style of football is just terrible to watch. But they did have a couple of chances in that game, and I thought they could have maybe nicked a draw. They were in it.
Yeah,
they were really.
I mean, I didn't really see too much of it. I mean, I tried to watch some of it, but I think I fell asleep halfway through. It's Big Sam's brand of football is difficult to watch. But I mean, from what I saw, I think Everton were good value for the win. And West Brom are doomed. And it just kind of goes to show you they should never have sacked Slaven Bilic. I think he had them on a good trajectory, and they would have had a good shout of staying up.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to Southampton Sheffield United. 2-0 Southampton.
Oh, yes.
Finally breaking that losing streak that we were just talking about. And what a goal from Shea Adams. I mean,
oh, my God. What a hit.
Insane. Technique was fire. Pure fire.
Brilliant. I mean, he came off the bench and just absolutely leathered it. Top bins. Great goal. I'll say this, though. Sheffield United were the much better team. Much better team. 100%. They were brilliant. And I think the penalty was against a run of play, and Shea Adams' goal was against a run of play. I thought Sheffield United were the much better team. They looked more threatening, but they just lacked that final quality. And then that's why they're going to go down, because Southampton didn't look that great, but they won. They won 2-0. So.
But they're very realistic about it. I like their manager. He's very realistic about the fact they're going to go down.
Yeah, me too. I like it.
I mean, that kind of, let's look at the game before, though. So they beat Villa 1-0, and I think that's probably why they were so confident coming into the Southampton game, because McGoldrick, that 30, 40-yard cross-field pass and then the desire to get back into the box and finish it at the back post was delightful on his part. And
A1, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they just, Villa were on top for a lot of the game. I thought they did well, but the Blues were down to 10 men and they held on for it. And to win 1-0 against Villa was nice, and it was a
huge
great
result.
goal.
Huge result. I mean, listen, Villa are a good team, and they've been really good away from home. I mean, they beat us away from home, and McGoldrick's cross-field pass I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, right.
But then he did what every great striker does. He didn't stop. He didn't stand still admiring his cross-field pass, thinking, "Damn, that's some shit right there. Oh, that's a great pass." No, he got into the box, busted a gut, got in there, and got on the end of on the opposing pass. I thought that was a really, really good goal and worthy of winning any game. So yeah, I'm really happy for McGoldrick as well. I think he puts in a shift. He's the kind of striker that, like, if he plays for your team, you really do appreciate what he does. So I'm glad.
I agree.
Yeah, he offers a lot. So I'm glad he got the win for Sheffield United. I mean, I backed him really to win that game.
I mean, yeah, it was good on their part, and I like McGoldrick too. I would agree with you there. Let's look at the Villa Wolves game, 0-0. It was boring. There wasn't a lot.
Not much to say about that one. Kind of boring. Yeah.
It was an even game. Nothing really happened.
But for me, the biggest highlight of that game was Roman Sais's miss. Right, so the ball broke to him. I'm not even joking. Like a yard out, max 2 yards out, and my guy missed. I think he hit the bar. Or did he hit it over, or some shit like that? he didn't score. Like, he was like a yard out, bro.
I know.
How did he miss that?
It reminds me of the Chipamoteng one for PSG. Do you remember that one? Where he just for like a yard out. Somehow he's ballooned over the bar.
Yeah.
Mad...
No, Super Moting, I think it was going in, and then he kind of like he backheeled it, like off the line, like it was on the line. He backheeled it, and then like the defender came in and cleared it. Like it was going in, and he stopped it. Like mad. Yeah, wasn't too far off that.
No, it wasn't. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to a boring game. Palace United. That was the next one, really, and that was 0-0. Nothing to say. I mean, there's 3 shots on target all game. It was terrible.
Lee said about that game, the better. If I didn't suffer from insomnia, I would have fallen asleep because it was an absolute snooze fest. Like it was painful. Like it's one of the few times where I felt like watching football was a chore. It was not good. It felt like an actual chore. I didn't like it.
I mean, also, it was funny. I saw a tweet. It was from one of our regular fans of the show, Mbappe Don 619, and his tweet was bringing on Dan James for Cavani in the 75th minute. Turns off TV screen. It kind of says it all, doesn't it? Really?
I mean, to be honest, if I'm watching a game and I see Cavani come off, Dan James come on it's time for me to watch. I don't know, One Division or I don't know, whatever the hell else I'm watching. I'm watching some series. I'm not watching this shit no more.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that as well is it was such a weird substitution because Palace were playing a low block and playing 10 men behind the ball, right?
So
Dan James' only asset is pace. So when there's no space behind, what's he going to do? It's a weird decision.
Where's Donny van de Beek? Is he injured? I don't know.
He just doesn't. I don't. He has no love at the club. Nobody's got time of day for him there. I feel sorry for him because he's a good player.
I really like this guy. I think at Ajax he was fantastic. Him, Dusan Tadic, obviously Frenkie de Jong before he got sold to Barcelona. I thought they made a great midfield. And then he's just come to United just to sit on the bench. He's too good for that.
He is
too good for that. I'll take him. How about
that? Yeah, you would take him. I'm sure you would.
I mean, I'll probably take anyone.
West Brom Newcastle was 0-0. Again, we just spoke about how bad West Brom football is, but it was a stalemate. It was just West Brom are down, I think, now. I don't think even Big Sam can save them this shit. I don't think he will.
Yeah. I mean, it was the epitome of dog water. It was not good. Not good to watch. Not good to watch. It was awful football. I mean, I knew it was going to be bad when Alan Saint-Maximin wasn't starting. Obviously, he's injured. Him and Almiron are out till April. I can honestly, I can see Newcastle going down at this rate. Honestly, I really could. Yeah, 100%. Because I think Brighton have something about them. I think Brighton, if Brighton were up against prime Barcelona for a one-off match to stay in the Premier League, they'd win 3-0.
I mean, that's another dead opinion. Absolutely. This is why you're number one dead guy on this show, because you think prime Barcelona are going to be beaten by a Brighton team. Come on.
Okay. Can I qualify this? Firstly, this program is called Deadball Specialist. So we need
there's only one dead opinion right now.
So we need at least one dead opinion on this show at some point. Secondly, it's tongue in cheek, right?
Is it?
But Brighton have a knack, right, of pulling out results when needed. Okay, I don't know what it is about that side. They could, like I say, they could beat anyone at any point at any time, and also lose to anyone at any point at any time. I don't know what is weird about them. Mope can turn into Messi, and Dan Burn can turn into Roberto Carlos, and Lewis Dunk is Alessandro Nesta. Who knows? Or, they could be Jean-Alain Boumsong or Kolasinac or bloody Josie Altidore. Who knows, mate? They have it. It's I can't describe them. They're weird like that.
They are weird.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah,
I mean,
it's
I think the point you make on Almiron and Maximan being injured, it goes against them because those two players are really their creative
huge.
force. So them two being out does maybe signal a lot of demise for Newcastle. But I think they'll just about have enough to go down. So I don't think it'll be Sheffield United will go down. West Brom will go down. I think Fulham will probably end up not having enough in the end.
No, I think Fulham will stay up.
You think Newcastle going down over Fulham?
I think Newcastle or Brighton will go down, but I'm more leaning towards Newcastle. Either way,
Okay.
Fulham are staying up. They have a lot about them. Scott Parker's turned that club around.
I like Scott Parker, so
yeah.
Let's actually conveniently that segues into Fulham. So Fulham Spurs, which was earlier in the week, that was 1-0 Spurs. It was a lovely finish from Ali, who is starting to play well the last few games. Surprise, surprise.
Yes, but that should never have been a Spurs win. That should have been a draw all day long. Did you see the alleged handball?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was not. I mean, I thought the handball against Kante in the Liverpool game was a penalty. So the alleged handball in this game, I think.
Look, the handball against Kante was a handball. The handball against Eric Peters with Pepe.
Yeah.
Stonewall, Great Wall of China, right? Stonewall. Handball wasn't given. Went to VAR, they didn't give it. And the one against I forgot who it was, but I think it was Davinson Sanchez. Literally booted the ball, right? Like 2 yards away, hit the Fulham player like on the arm, and that wasn't a goal. And you know what they've done now? Apparently they've reversed that rule now. So if the same thing was to happen again next season, obviously it wouldn't count. But how's it going to help Fulham now? They could go down by a point.
Yeah, so true, isn't it? It's so true.
You know,
it's just too little, too late.
It's just disgusting. You know, these refs are a cartel, like a really incompetent cartel. I had enough of them. You can't
but not Vibes Cartel.
You know what's funny? I was banging Vibes Cartel today. You know, I was like, hey,
I know.
I'll send you some recommendations.
Yeah, please.
Love Vibes Cartel.
So the last game, and the game which is currently still going on while we're recording this, is Spurs Palace. So 4-1 to Spurs currently. Bale with 2 and Kane with 2. Now, last week he was slamming Gareth Bale, and he's hitting a bit of form now, right? So there's 2-3 games in the bounce. He's played well. And I know you said that he's only interested in playing golf, but I think he's showing that he wants to play football and he's happy at Spurs.
Do you know what? I might have to eat my words. I might have to kind of, I mean, I'm not going to say after 2 games he's back, but he's looking like the Bale that we have known before and the Bale that we've seen. So, I mean, he's always had it in him. He has always had the talent.
Yeah.
It all came down to him and his application and whether he wants it or not. So maybe he's decided, look, I'm up for this now. And if that is the case, I'm happy to be proven wrong because I'm a big fan of him and I really do like him as a player.
Yeah.
Great player, exactly. So I want him to play well, even if it's for Spurs. I want him to ball out. I want him to look good. I want him to play well. I think for rivalry aside, I think for football it's a good thing. So hopefully he proves me wrong. Okay,
well, that's all the week and the weekend games. So that bumping. So we managed to get through it relatively quickly. We'll go through our the usual predictions for next week.
Yes.
So the first game is going to be Newcastle Villa, and that's at Newcastle Ground on Friday. How do you see that going?
I think more misery for Newcastle. I think Ollie Watkins will turn up. I think Bertrand Traore will turn up. Yeah. I don't see Newcastle scoring, especially since Callum Wilson is out. I'm going to go 2-0, Ollie Watkins and Bertrand Traore.
2-0 Villa?
Yep.
Okay. I think you're right. I think Newcastle are in trouble. I think having Almiron and Maximan means that there's no creative force out there at all. I think I'm going to agree with you and say 2-0 Villa.
Good.
I can see that happening. Saturday, we've got a few games. We've got 4 games. We've got Leeds Chelsea at Leeds Ground. We've got Palace West Brom, Everton Burnley, and Fulham Man City. So I think we'll start with the Leeds game. I think Chelsea back on a bit of form, so I think Chelsea will take that. a 3-2 or 2. I think 3-2 because there's always goals when you play Leeds. So I'm going to go 3-2 Chelsea in that game.
I'm going to go 2-1. I think Leeds' brand of kamikaze football is going to leave them open. And I think Chelsea win 2-1. But I would not be surprised if it's like 5-4 or some shit. Because, the way they play is just like, I get that. So, yeah, 2-1 Chelsea for me.
Okay, Palace West Brom 0-0 for me. I can't see anything happening in that game. It'll be boring.
100%. I don't see anyone scoring in that game. I mean, Zaha came back today. I get that, but
did he? Okay.
Apparently, yeah. I think he came in at halftime for Iberi Eze. So yeah, 0-0 for me as well.
Okay, Everton Burnley. I'm going to say 1-0 Everton. Continue their rich reign form of winning games. I think Burnley are coming back, but I think Everton will just nick one goal and it'll be a bit of a boring game. But Everton will just run away.
Not for me. I'm going to go 3-0 Everton. I'm going to say Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring goals again.
I mean, he's not on the greatest run of form right now, but
he isn't. But I back him to come back.
Okay, and the last one of the day of the Saturday would be Fulham Man City. Fulham at home. Man City, I think, would just be so hungry to rectify this 2-0 loss. Game like 4-0 or something, very comfortable. So I'm going to go 4-0 City.
No, not for me. I think City will want to come back, but I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be 2-1 City.
Okay.
I think Fulham are going to put up a really good fight.
We'll see. I think you're right. I think they will, but I think City will just have too much.
City will be too strong in it.
As soon as City get 2 goals, Fulham will just capitulate a little bit and be 4-0.
Yeah. Okay.
Southampton Brighton on Sunday. Southampton at home. Brighton's away form has been okay. I think Brighton will get something out of that. I think they'll win 2-1. I think that Brighton win.
I agree. I think Brighton will nick it. I think Brighton have enough. I think Brighton, away from home, South Coast derby. 2-1 Brighton, I think.
Okay. Leicester, Sheffield United, Leicester at home. I see that as a 2-1 win for Leicester.
I'm going to go 2-0 win for Leicester for that.
Okay. Then we got a massive one. Arsenal Spurs. Arsenal at home.
Oh, my God.
I'll let you predict first. It is your team, Arsenal.
Do you know what? For me, it all depends on the team that Arteta picks.
Okay.
If he picks Willian or, if he picks Willian, we're not going to do well. If he puts Oba on the left, we're not going to do well. Our front three needs to be Oba in the middle, Pepe on the left, Saka on the right. Mm-hmm. We need Partey in the middle. I think Ceballos in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think if we have that team, I think we'll do well. I think we'll win 2-1. My heart is telling me a 2-1 win. My head says 1-1 draw.
I'm saying Spurs to win that 2-1. I think Mourinho is just doing Mourinho masterclass. I think he's going to shut up shop. I think Kane and Son will be too much for your defence. And Bale or 2 if he plays. And I think Spurs can win that 2-1. Obviously, that's my opinion. You can't do that. But anyway, I think
you really are the Deadball specialist.
I think it's 2-1 Spurs. But last one is Man United West Ham at United Stand.
Oh, West Ham win for me.
Away from home. I think Man United.
Hold on, can Lingard play in that game? I know he's on loan. Is he allowed to play? I don't know because
I'm not sure.
Okay,
but I do think. Go on.
I was going to say so I remember there was a time when do you remember Lomana Lua?
I do.
So good they named him twice. So he was a Newcastle player. They loaned him out to Portsmouth, to Pompey, and then I think they played Newcastle at home, and he scored, and I think he got the winner that day.
Yes.
Imagine that your employee gets the winner against you. Yeah, but then I think after that day, I think they stopped it. So I don't know if Lingard could play, but I think West Ham are on the march. I think they look really good, and I think United are vulnerable. I think United can be a bit cocky. They've won at City. They're going to be like, well, you know, we've got our tails up. I think West Ham win that. I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham.
Okay, I'm going 3-1 United there.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Big win. I think United can take it comfortably. Rashford to get one. I
Wow.
think Fernandes will get one. And I think Man United is just going to look so strong in that game. So I'm saying 3-1 United. And the last one to finish up on is Monday, Wolves-Liverpool. Wolves are at home. Our away form is so much better than our home form. So I do think we'll get something out of the game. I think we'll win 2-1 or 1-0. I'm going to back us.
Not for me.
Even though we've been terrible this year, I'm going to back us to win 1-0. 1-0, let's say 1-0.
Not for me. I think you're going to lose that 2-1.
Okay.
I think your slump will get. Yeah, I think right now you're in a spiral, you know, and it's kind of hard to come out of that. I think what you guys need is a really big, huge game.
Yeah.
And then that will kind of boost your confidence and move you on. I think Wolves away, it's not too big of a game for you guys, but it means everything to Wolves. You know how much how much I love Wolves, and I'm a big fan of their style of play. 2-1 Wolves for me.
Okay. Well, that's all our predictions for next week's games. We're going to have, like I said, a very special guest on next week, to look at the weekend's games with us, and we'll also be, as we said in the show, discussing Prime Ozil, Prime Fabregas, or Prime Kevin De Bruyne. Who is the best and why? And I'm sure that Ahmed will have a few dead opinions on the matter, which will be fun to listen to. But equally, maybe I will too. Who knows? I've already got my winner in that.
I think you mean. I think what you mean is not dead opinions. I think what you mean is straight facts.
we'll be seeing on the day, won't we?
Yeah.
So, come and join us next week. It'll be episode 4.
Please do.
We'll look forward to having you with us, and we'll look forward to bringing out our guests. And like I said, if anybody else would like to jump on board, feel free to leave a comment and get involved. We'll be happy to take applications for any other guests for the show.
That's right. Thank you, Kunal. I mean, I agree with you. Really looking forward to our special guest next week. Really excited. I think it's going to be a good one. I'm going to go on record and say it's going to be the best one yet. Best episode yet. So just saying. But yeah. But like Kunal said, anyone else wants to be a guest on this here illustrious podcast, shout us a holler. Let us know.
And we'll see you next weekend.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining.
Yes, we will.